So the market absolutely boomed with rewards, but we are due an even bigger crash as a result. Top of that, we're going to be covering all the content that has happened in the last 24 hours and other investments to go and make. But before we start, if you guys are interested, I do offer a daily subscriber trading guide for my Twitch subs. All you got to do is head over to the top link on the description, and as I say, you can subscribe for free if you guys have Amazon Prime. If not, it is £5, €5, or $6 for daily updated trading guides. Again, in there, we've got all the investments. We've got ourselves daily updated data for shadow trading and lists of players you can go and sell for lazy buyers. So, without further ado, let's go and talk about the content that's come out in the last 24 hours. It's been another slow day. It's been about 2-3 slow days in a row now, but there was a bit. And the main thing coming out yesterday was a Godfrey Champions League road to the knockout stage card. Now, it only required one squad, which was an 85 rated, needing one Serie A, which means he came in under 30k, which, is actually a really nice value for money SBC. The problem is, he's just a bit generic, especially with us having about 4 or 5 different promo or amazing centre-backs. We've got Edem Militao this week, we've got ourselves like a Kim Min-jae that doesn't look bad, we've got ourselves a Van der Ven, I think over road to knockout stage, I think there's also multiple, I think there's an Arahio and stuff like that. I guess that's more of the premium side, but there's just so many centre-backs coming out, and of course his card is kind of average. I mean, it's barely better than Tomori, some would argue worse than Tomori, but it is a live card, so it can get upgraded down the line. Regarding playstyles, looking quite good. He's got every defensive playstyle, apart from arguably the one that people want the most, which is Anticipate. But then again, Anticipate, I always say, is probably better on your midfielders than it is probably on your centre-backs, because of course, you're intercepting less as a centre-back, because of course you're the last line of defence. Interesting things about this guy, he can go and play left back and right back. Now his base card has left back and right back, but it's quite interesting because of course you remember the aerial meta at the end of last year where people ended up playing Joselu at right back. Well, potentially, say if aerial ends up being the meta, then he could potentially do well as a 6-foot centre back. Left or right back. Only problem is his pace, but of course that can get upgraded down the line. So, you've always got that as a bit of an alternative. Again, I wouldn't be too fond of playing him as a left or right back, not with 71 dribbling being 6 foot. I can only imagine his, agility and balance isn't the worst in all fairness. But yeah, I doubt you'd want to be bombing down the wings with him. But nothing too crazy. Another problem we do have coming in with Godfrey is the links. The links aren't looking too good. Again, you've got Tomori, which again is kind of a better card than him. But other than that, you've got Lookman, but that's quite subpar. Loftus-Cheek is okay. I guess if you've evoed Loftus-Cheek, it's not bad. Again, another centre-back link. It's just his links really just aren't amazing, and that's the problem. Now, the nice thing going for him is that Atlanta, luckily, are quite a good team. In fact, they've actually already got, I guess, 2 parts of different upgrades. So one part of the upgrade is getting yourself 3 wins, and they've already got 1 win against Shakhtar just the other day. And then the other part of the upgrade is getting minimum 1 goal in 4 matches. Now, sadly, they drew against Arsenal. Here's an interesting thing, again, a lot of people don't realise, is that these Champions League road to knockout stages, the games before the promo came out actually count. Normally, EA never include the games before the promo comes out. But yeah, the road to knockout stage the games before the road to knockout stage count, which is really interesting. So we actually thought it'd take absolutely ages for the upgrades. The upgrades are actually going to come the exact same time as last year, because last year they didn't include the first game, but this year they do include the first game. Sadly for Atlanta, the first game was kind of relevant because it was a 0-0 draw. They didn't get either goals, or nor did they get themselves a win. But yeah, just an interesting thing to take note of if you guys weren't already aware. So yeah, Atlanta, I'd say, are favourite to go and get themselves 3 wins. But he's very surprised if they don't go and pull in a result against either Young Boys, Celtic, Stuttgart. I'd imagine they're a little bit more favourite for. And I mean, they've got 2 games after that. Let's go and see who their last 2 games are. Wouldn't back them. I mean, yeah, Strom Graz, I'd imagine they'll beat. And Barcelona wouldn't be too short. So I'd imagine he's probably going to get minimum 2 upgrades. I can't go and see him getting top 2. I can't see Atlanta getting top 2 in their league. But yeah, not too bad with the likes of Godfrey. The second bit of content we went and got ourselves was Marquee Matchups. We love a good Marquee Matchups. And we also love a great investment here. Now, the problem I have is every week I do normally recommend investments for Marquee Matchups. But I'm not quite sure if it's actually going to be worth it from now onwards. Because EA is putting the marquee game as Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. This is just not a derby whatsoever. This is just barely is it a big game. They snubbed a game. What I thought would be the favourite is PSG versus Nice. They also snubbed Fiorentina, Milan, and literally Seville Betis. Like, these should be the biggest games. But to go and choose Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest, how on earth are you meant to go and guess that? So I'm not quite sure down the line how much more I'll be probably recommending pre-marquee matchups, especially to any sort of mass quantity. Someone said they bought 300k's worth of PSG players. Now, luckily, again, they were kind of discounted, so there won't really be much money to be lost. But, you know, how are you meant to guess that Chelsea Nottingham Forest is going to be the game? But whatever. It wasn't crazy money on that one. Where there was money was on this one. Again, we kind of identified this about a few minutes after it came out, which was okay because there's still investments there. But they wanted 1 Greek player and a maximum of 4 nations, which is kind of crazy because what I did was I went over to FootBin and I was like, well, if we have a look at Greek players, I was like, okay, well, they've got a few gold cards, but the vast majority are silvers. Now, silvers are like next to not supplied whatsoever in FIFA, and EA want 1 of them and a maximum of 4 nations, so some people will actually use more than 1. So I was like, I headed over to the transfer market. I saw bronzes. There wasn't even that much supply. So silvers had no supply. So golds didn't have much supply. I said, do you know what, chat? Go and buy bronzes up to 250 coins. There must have probably been about, I'd imagine, a few hundred on the market. Well, bronzes then went from 250 coins, and they actually ended up going all the way up to 4k, if I'm not wrong. There you go, 3.7k right there. So again, another reason, make sure you are in the stream at 6 PM because very rarely do I miss with these SBCs. I've got years and years of experience. You know, I saw Greece, and I guess a lot of the unexperienced people would think, okay, well, 1 Greek player isn't that deep. But I know Greece is a very minor supplied nation. And then when I went and searched, I saw there's a lack of bronzes. I saw the kind of all silvers. I know there's 0 supply of silvers on FIFA. So, yeah, so we made some really, really good coins with that. So, happy days. With the rest again, not really anything too crazy. I also recommended buying silver Prem goalkeepers before this came out. I'm not too sure how that went in the end. I think it went pretty well. I can't think of a silver Prem goalkeeper down one. Kelleher, maybe? Kelleher might be a gold. I'm sure, actually, Liverpool I know have a bronze goalkeeper, so I'm sure I can go and find that. But yeah, so goalkeepers normally do quite well because there's just a lack of cheap ones. Obviously, they've got a lot of fodder. So there we go. I mean, look at that right there. Auli yesterday, what was he? He was 700 coins before the marquee matchup came out because we went and searched him. I mean, these cards seem to go up to about 2.5k. So yeah, really nice buy right there. One of the reasons they work is because there is a maximum club of 6. So that is going to be marquee matchups. Getting really good money on that. Regarding Evos, nothing on Evos. Obviously, if you guys don't know, EA currently has a bug with Evos where people can't chain Evos. So it seems like they're kind of limiting the amount they're releasing there. What they did go and drop was a lot of objectives with SP. Wait, if I can go and find it. Is it? It's not EVO Arena. It's Foundations. Somewhere they dropped a bunch of XP in the Evos. Bi-weekly, it might have been this one. But yeah, they dropped a bunch of objectives which had, SP, and I think it's this one where you just got to go and play loads of games. So just a heads up if you guys are looking for more SP. I mean, playing 30 games, you're not exactly going to wrap up fast, I guess, unless maybe you're doing I don't know, spamming games with your mates or whatever. So that is going to kind of wrap it up regarding what happened on content-wise. Let's go and talk about what happened to the market. Now, I've predicted for the last few days that the market is going to drop every day between Tuesday to Sunday because that's just what it did last year. But yesterday we actually saw a bit of a rebound. I mean, it was kind of give or take after Division Rivals. Now, we saw this happen last week where the market was panic sold into Div Rivals and then just banged after it. Well, the same thing happened yesterday. But what is interesting is despite the market rebounding a fair bit after Division Rivals, yesterday still averages cheaper than what it was on Wednesday. Which goes exactly with the graphs we saw with FC24. FC24, we saw the market drop every day from Tuesday to Sunday. Now again, in that day you can see a fluctuation up and down, but again, we can't see the hour-to-hour fluctuation. Now there were a few exceptions were the super popular cards, all the cards that are going out of packs, all the cards that are highly anticipated, such as Patry. Again, another day where she goes up. I do have her in my team, and I'm not gonna lie, I do see the hype. She's got Relentless, which for me is a must-have for centre mids. You know, the long ball probably is really good. I mean, I just use driven passes. I don't really use many through balls, but yeah, she's a really good card, and obviously her links are quite premium. But there we go. We can see cards like Saliba, who went from 231 to 225. Even though his hour-to-hour fluctuation, he went down there from 219 and did get up there to 230, his day-to-day fluctuation is still down, which is exactly what we saw last year. Again, we got Rudiger, who went from 184 to 178. He still might have had a nice fluctuation. There we go, went from 168 there to 188, but the day-to-day trend is the exact same as last year. We go and show the same with Fodder, who went from 105 to 106, even though yesterday his hour-to-hour fluctuation was 98 to 116. So, if you're wondering, by the way, how can you identify the cards that are good investments for Division Rivals? We can see Foden before he started crashing was 120, and then we can see before Division Rivals he was down there at 100. Because this card has kind of dropped 20%, he's then anticipated to rise nicely, especially because he's a gold card over 50k. The gold cards under 50k didn't do as well because, of course, they were getting very heavily supplied with marquee matchups, but someone like Foden wasn't. Again, we can look at Neymar here, went from 110 and he got all the way down there to 90. Didn't rebound as well, only rebounded there to 100. The problem with Neymar not rebounding is because people are doing St. Max SBC. So there are people using their untradeable fodder to do St. Max. But there were also some people upgrading to Neymar, which is why, despite him having a really high drop, he didn't rebound as well. Whereas Foden is way less of a comparable card to St. Max than, Neymar. De Jong was an interesting card. He went up. Obviously, at the moment, there is a lot of hype around Patry. And because there's a lot of hype around Patry, these Barcelona players are doing very, very well because people are more likely than not linking Patry into Barcelona and La Liga or Spanish squads than they are linking her with the La Liga woman. But we can see right there, De Jong kind of going against the trend and rising. There we go, we can see Rodrigo dropping, although Rodrigo did absolutely crash on the Wednesday due to the hype around the Nico Williams SBC, was there down at, got down to about 120, rebounded to 150, but again, we do expect these cards to absolutely crash. Interesting card that crashed was Mbappe. Mbappe on PC was feral. Mbappe on PC went from 5 million to 3, he went as low as 3.5 million. Now, since he has rebounded closer to 5 million, but yeah, he had an absolutely crazy drop on PC. 5.5 down to, again, he got down to about 3.5. So he rebounded a million since. So yeah, happy days, I guess, if you bought there and sold there on PC. But obviously we didn't see anything near as much on console. He dropped from 4 million down to 3.6. Still 3.6, I'll be honest with you. Maybe he has a few hours before Weekend League starts, but I don't think there really is going to be anything on that. Again, these cards did drop last year. And Griezmann, again, also dropped between yesterday and today. And again, we look at his hour-to-hour trend. We can see he did get down there to 99 and rebound up there to 111, but since he is back down to 108. So why do I think the market's going to drop, even though, again, we saw big rebounds after Div Rivals? Well, because we saw the same sort of thing last year. So let's go and grab Griezmann. Right, Griezmann this year went from 104 to 103 yesterday. But if we look at last year, Griezmann went from 102 to 100. So Griezmann almost K for K followed the exact same trends as last year. But then what happened is the drops just got bigger and bigger. So, on this day, there was only 2k. In all fairness, Thursday to Friday was only 97. But Friday to Saturday was almost 20k. And again, I can kind of go and grab absolutely any card. Here's an expensive example. Butella's this year, again, she dropped about 20k on the Wednesday to Thursday. Same sort of thing we're seeing happen here. Wait, where we go? Sorry. This is last year. Where on the Tuesday to Thursday, she went and dropped 40k, right? 1 million down to 960k. This year, she went and dropped 20k. So quite comparable. But the thing is, after the Wednesday to Thursday drop, she then dropped 100k the first day, 140k the second day. So that's why, even though, again, cards haven't exactly crashed between the Wednesday to Thursday, even though they're anticipated to, they didn't really crash that much between the Wednesday to Thursday last year. It was the Thursday to Friday, the Friday to Saturday, and the Saturday to Sunday where the crashes were pretty ugly. So this is why I don't recommend having expensive players. And I expect cards to crash or start dropping anywhere from about a few hours after Weekend League started. And the reason the market should crash as of a few hours after Weekend League starts is because people are going to wrap up their Weekend League. Again, it's 15 games, people are going to be rage quitting, and they're just going to go and sell their teams, and then they're going to go and sell their rewards. And as a result, that's when the market should drop. So it's actually a little bit, I've kind of skipped a little bit ahead of what I was going to cover in the video. But this is why I don't actually recommend investing in stuff for Yamal. So Yamal's linked to get a POTM. Now his POTM is going to come out at 5 PM today because every single time we got La Liga POTM, it always came out on 5 PM on the Friday. You can see right there, 5 PM on the Friday. One of my viewers said, is that because it went back an hour? Nope, you can go and check some normal 6 PM content, and all the comments are from 6 PM. But because all the comments here are from 5 PM, it means we know that La Liga POTM comes at 5 PM. Well, the problem is, Weekend League starts at 8. I think the market would start dropping as of about 11, 12, meaning if you're going to try and buy link investments or fodder for Yamal, again, you only have 1 hour between 5 PM to 6 PM, and 6 PM we expect a big crash. And going into 5 PM, the market's kind of expected to drop. So, sadly, even though Yamal is expected at 5 PM, I don't think there's much prep you want to do for him, because I think fodder and I think links should be getting packed more than they're demanded. I don't think you'll get a good pre-hype. You've just got to gamble on extremely well-demanded, him being an extremely well-demanded SBC, which is why I don't recommend buying him. In the same breath, this is also why I don't recommend buying the Road to the Knockout stages quite yet, because again, these cards should be packed in rewards. I don't think they're going to be kept in, I don't think people who play their games in the first few hours are going to keep them. They should sell them, and these cards, as a result, should drop quite nicely going into 6 PM. So I'm in basically no hurry to really go and buy anything until we get a little bit closer to 6 PM, because I think weekly rewards will be, weekly will be played, people will get the rewards, and the cards will go and drop nicely. Obviously, after 6 PM, when people play the weekend league, they're not going to pack these cards, which is why we should start seeing them rebound after 6 PM. So there's that. We do have a little bit more to cover. Back to I guess the market. We'll talk a little bit about Team of the Week 2. Now the normal trend for Team of the Week 2 is that the market actually will normally drop from Tuesday to Sunday. These cards normally get overinvested and they drop. Now potentially either due to not an amazing rise in the first place, or them dropping I guess a bit earlier, but these cards actually rebound a little bit. We can see that Diaz went from 212 to 216. Still not too amazing though. Breme wasn't bad, 109 to 112, now up to about 118. Rafinha 288 to 300, now 310, and Son 289 to 910, now up to 930. Only problem for these cards is they kind of, because they go against last year's trends, it makes them quite risky. We don't quite know what's going to happen. I think they'll drop with the rest of the market a few hours into weekend league. I don't think there's going to be more people buying them than I think people are going to be replacing them in the team or panic selling and trying new cards or whatever. So don't really recommend these as an investment. Interesting enough as well, I don't really recommend Team Week 3 as an investment, like any of them basically. One of the reasons I don't recommend them as an investment is if we look at Team Week 3 last year, which was the Team Week that came out during the first weekly rewards, these cards just didn't really do that well. There was one or two cards that did well, but yeah, they, like Kravacheli, right? A guy's name who I butcher left, right and centre. This was him last year. Now, he would have been favoured to do quite well because he was really well demanded last year. But this is him on the Saturday, so like this up-and-coming Saturday, equivalent of Team Week 3. And they just didn't do well. Like, he went from 113 to 120. And then he just went back down to 107. Like, there was just no money on, some of these cards. Some of the cards did well, but I say, they wouldn't have been the cards you would have expected. Again, Kanjani. We're going to look at Kanjani, and again, there was just no rise. This is, again, the equivalent of Team Week 3, the Team Week we're in right now. We then move on to Bellingham. There's no way Bellingham's goal... Again, he was still a very well-demanded card last year. Well, let's have a look at how Bellingham did last year. There we go. Bellingham last year, again, just dropped and dropped and dropped until literally the Thursday out packs, which is why I'm not really confident on buying Team Week 3 as an investment, because not only should Road to Knockout Stage Team 3 do really well, so there's no real reason to invest in stuff other than that, but because Team Week 3s didn't do very well last year, I wouldn't want to buy them. Now, again, I will give I'll show you a few more players, just because I know there are some players that did work, but Martinez... again, did 47 to 53. It's not too amazing unless you're getting very lows and very highs. Now, Grimaldo did do well, if we can go and show you right here. Grimaldo did 37 to 46, which isn't bad, but the problem is it's just easy to hit these players in hindsight, right? It's easy to go and buy Grimaldo in hindsight and not buy Bellingham in hindsight. And Watkins did 60 to 80, which was very good. Although Watkins also was used as a link investment to Diego Carlos's SBC, if you guys remember his Road to Knockout stage. So I would say that. So yeah, I wouldn't really be that keen on buying this current Team of the Week. I can show you Odegaard. Odegaard did pretty well. Boom, boom. Odegaard did 70 up to 80, which again is okay. And then it seemed like he might have risen for some sort of link investment or something like that. So across the board, they weren't really that consistent. And again, they wouldn't have been easy to predict who would have done well and who wouldn't have done well, unless maybe you were to know the SBCs. So I'm not a massive fan of investing in the current Team of the Week. Another problem we have is we can't really use last week's trends on Team of the Weeks. We can't really use last year's trends on Team of the Weeks because of the new weekly rewards. Because this year's weekly rewards literally rewards a tradable Team of the Week pack. I think it's like anything from like 4 wins, or is it anything from like 6 wins? Let's have a little look. Weekend League, there we go. Anything from 4 wins? I mean, 4 wins gives you a Team of the Week pack. Yeah, so if you get anything from 4 wins, you literally get a tradable Team of the Week pack. We didn't get this last year, and as a result, this can completely change the trend of when is Team of the Week the cheapest. As I say, last week I believe the Team of the Week was the cheapest on the Saturday. Last year the Team of the Week was cheapest on the Saturday, but I think that's all kind of irrelevant with this pack. So not only did Team Week 3 not do well last year, again, calling the absolute low point on when to buy Team of the Week I think is a lot harder. So that's another reason why I'm not really a fan of buying Team of the Week, and I'm a fan of buying Road to the Knockout stage. So let's talk a little bit about the Road to the Knockout stage. So yesterday they had some interesting trends. We saw some nice fluctuations. Now again, these cards on average are down. Like Watkins went from 90 to 84, 87, but they did have some nice fluctuations. Again, he went from 72 all the way up there to 90, which was very nice. Cherky, again, on the daily average is down, but if we look at his hourly yesterday, he went from 136 to 175, which is very nice. DeMarco, again, on the average is down, but if we go look at his fluctuations, he went from 76 up there to 91. Romero, again, on the average is down, but if we look at his fluctuations, he did 130 to 147. So some nice fluctuations there with the Road to Knockout stages, and again, these are favourite to be a good investment. Who are we going to go and invest in the game? What we do is we go head over to Football, head over to players, we go to Player Game Performance, we then click on Versions, then Squads, then Road to Knockout Stage Team 1. We then go and click on games, and we just go and buy the most used, loads of different price points. We're going to use the most used cheap cards like Van der Beek and Koch. We'll then buy the most used mid-range, which is like Watkins and DeMarco and maybe Sesko. And then we're going to use the most used more expensive, maybe stuff like Romero, Pina, Cherky. Although do be aware of Pina, she might get affected via Nico Williams. So personally, I'm actually holding off Pina. Also, I'd be a little bit careful with Romero, with Van der Beek being in the current team of the week. Also, obviously, what's it called? Eder Militao being in the current team of the week. Just a side note, we'll get back to Road to Knockout stage in a sec. I would be a little bit careful if you bought Militao as a investment, just because this inform price is getting a little bit close to this gold price for my liking. So what I would actually do, wow, that's interesting. Drop from 148 to 140. What I would do is I would sell Eder Militao probably before midday today, because as soon as people start packing that card and that card comes down, this card becomes worse value for money. And we actually saw this kind of affect Vinicius Jr. last week. We saw gold Vinicius Jr. last week. Despite him going out of packs, he actually dropped because the gold inform wasn't that expensive, and because the gold inform wasn't that expensive, he dropped about 200k. Obviously, he then ended up rebounding because the inform ended up rebounding. But yeah, just be aware that if an inform is cheap, it can drop the gold card despite them being out of packs. But yeah, back to Road to Knockout stages. We are going to look at buying them. Again, we're going to look at buying them going into 6 PM. We think they're going to get packed in Weekend League, and they should get sold on and therefore become nice and cheap as an investment. The prices I'm going to look at, I'll be honest with you, I don't think you'll quite get as low as they were yesterday. So I'd maybe say probably aim to buy 5% more than the lowest they were yesterday. So Cherky obviously was 136. He did get up to 175. I think you aim to go and buy Cherky probably about 142, 145. I don't think he gets back down to 135, but again, he should end up being cheap. He should get to lower prices than what they at least averaged yesterday. So they averaged 160. He should at least get cheaper than 160. So yeah, that's one thing I'm going to go for. About 5% more than what they kind of bottomed out. But I'll wait till closer to 6 PM. I'm in no hurry to start throwing buy prices out there. But that's kind of my ideology. I don't think they quite get as low as yesterday, because they did get really heavily panic sold. And again, yesterday he did average 158, but his lowest was literally 25k cheaper than that. So, I don't quite think we're going to get those prices, but we'll wait till closer to 6 PM. The best investments, again, are going to be the most used ones. I think that about wraps it up. Regarding buying Fodder, Fodder is favoured to drop every day until we get Nico Williams. So what you want to do is you want to hold off buying Fodder until Sunday, because Sunday should be when it gets the cheapest. And then buy it Sunday probably with squad battles, unless we get Nico Williams before that, and if so, you're just going to go and buy Fodder on the spot. Recommend buying 88s and 89s, and potentially 89 inform written if she's good fodder when he comes out. Again, it's kind of a thing it drops every day he doesn't come out, so it's kind of wait till he comes out then buy it, or it will finish dropping on Sunday and then you can buy it on Sunday for it to hopefully rise later in the week. But that is about that. Thank you very much for watching. As I say, my plan of action is I'm just going to be doing a lot of shadow trading, a lot of cheap trading until probably Saturday. Then Saturday I'll probably start icon trading, because even though I think the market goes down a little bit between Saturday to Sunday, I think I could probably still get a bunch of really good deals in there. And between, I guess, Friday to Saturday/Sunday, whenever I want to start icon trading, I'm going to plan on being all in on Road to the Knockout stages. And maybe buy myself a few Harry Kanes out of packs. Hopefully rise for Nico Williams. But that's been that. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.